Welcome to another PC build on this channel. Today we are going to build a LAN party PC. If you're new to this channel, you might not know that I already had a couple of these things in the past. I even started off at a Pentium 4 with Windows XP, but then we moved on to some higher end games, and so XP and the Pentium 4 were just not cutting it anymore. Then I had another AMD, and I actually had since then only AMD systems, and the last dedicated LAN party build was a big failure. It actually didn't work. So since then I always used to bring my main machine, because we don't do LAN parties often. We do it twice a year, maybe 3 times, but not more. So I thought, why even need a dedicated PC? And so I always used to bring my main machine, but I don't like that, because first of all, it's a big bulky system. If you don't know, that's my main machine under there. A big fractal case with a just heavy and not very nice to move around, but also it's my main machine. I don't want to move it around. It's got important data on it, and I use it for work. But when I build my own dedicated LAN machine, I can address these issues. I can first of all make it smaller. That's what I did with this case. So let's do the unveiling process. I was very looking forward to this case. It wasn't cheap. It cost actually, I think, 93 euros, which is quite expensive for such a little thing. But as you see, it is quite tiny, and that's a good thing for a LAN party machine, because when you have a small PC, you have less things to move around and less things to get in the way. But I also bought this because it has a handle. I still need to figure out how that works, but the handle is definitely was like this the major selling point for me for this case. Now this is a Silverstone case. I don't know the model number, but it's Mini ITX. Yep, Mini ITX. I don't know about Mini ITX actually too much, I gotta say. It's my first Mini ITX build. This way it goes. Yep. I already used to own a Silverstone case, and they always were pretty high quality, so the big price tag, the hefty price tag, is kind of justified on this one. It feels pretty darn solid. Didn't expect that, to be honest. Now we're gonna look in here, of course, later. Now the core components for our gaming PC, yeah, they're not a Ryzen 9 or a whatever 2080. They are actually a Ryzen 3 3200G. Now this is the latest and greatest Ryzen series, and this is the one with the APU. This is I think the lowest end you can go. It's a quad-core processor with an integrated APU. So this processor should be more than enough. I do mean more than enough for the games we play. We play very old games, and the most demanding game we play is Chivalry Medieval Warfare. So I'm thinking this is the one which is gonna challenge the APU a bit, but the rest we play Call of Duty 1, Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and stuff, so it's really old stuff. So this is gonna be fine, especially like from the processing power perspective. Now I could have gone out there and got myself maybe a used i5 or even i7 for the same price, but I thought I'm gonna go with a Ryzen. I want to finally get my hands on a Ryzen system. I've never built one, so this is exciting for me. Ever since these released, they kind of shook up the whole CPU market, so I'm happy to finally also be on the AMD camp on one of my systems. That's pretty cool. So the rest isn't too interesting probably. It's a 240 gig SSD which I had laying around, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, although there is one RAM stick missing. Where did it go? Did it fall out somewhere? Well, I'm gonna find it later. This is just from my Hackintosh still. So there should be 2 here. And then an SFX power supply from Corsair to power it all. 450 watts should be plenty for our stuff, since we don't have a dedicated GPU. And this guy right here, this is our motherboard we need. So a little rant about these ITX motherboards from my side is that I find they're pretty expensive. So maybe you can explain me why they are so expensive. This cost me 113 euros, and basically it costs more than some normal ATX AM4 boards, which I just don't get. I mean, it's a smaller board, it has less features. How can it cost more? Like, my only theory is that maybe they just charge so much because you need these boards and there's no way around it, maybe. But I can be wrong. Maybe it's more challenging getting everything in here. I don't know. Maybe they don't make as many. Who knows? But I find it a little a rip-off. But what can I do? I needed to buy it. It is hurt a bit to buy, so I got the kind of cheapest one I could find. It's and what is it? The Fatality. What is that? The brand? A Fatality gaming gear from Asrock. There you go, an Asrock board. B450 is the chipset we want. Now I know that the latest Ryzens, they I think also work with the 350, but the 450 is guaranteed to work with. So I wanted to get a 450 just to avoid any troubles. So now let's find the other RAM stick, and then we can finally start the PC build I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I found the remaining RAM stick. It was hiding under my desk, unfortunately, kind of fell. So I know that some of you guys always want to know the price, how much this all costs, and I can't really tell you in this case because I had some parts already laying around. This cost me 106 euros and this cost me 113, and this one I got reduced, and this one cost me I think, as I said, 93. So all in all, I can say it's a low-end budget build. It's definitely not expensive. And also, because I'm a cheap ass, I'm going to use a Windows 7 activation key for the Windows 10 I found off of a random parts laptop I have. So I hope it's activating with that. If not, well, then I'll just get myself a cheap 10 euro license or so. But I'm gonna try it anyway. Maybe it works. Just want you to gaze at this awesome CPU. Look at that. It looks so cool. Just some features of it. We got 2 RAM slots. We got even a PCIe. And yeah, that's about it. All the ports. Wi-Fi, that's also nice. But apart from that, pretty basic stuff. That's all we need. So there is the PC, guys, and once again, huge failure. Why that? Let me explain. I can't start the PC, unfortunately, yet, because the motherboard has a BIOS version which doesn't support the new Ryzen series. Yeah, awesome. And unfortunately, I don't have an AM4 CPU that I can just put in here and boot it and update BIOS and fine, because I don't have that many new AMD CPUs. And so, yeah, I'm kind of stuck with this. It's really nobody's fault. It's not my fault. It's not the hardware's fault. It's not AMD's fault and not Asrock's fault. It's just bad luck. Basically, what I think happened was that this was maybe in a storage unit or whatever in a warehouse before these got released, or the BIOS update got released and they still had the old BIOS on it, which sucks, but this is just the way it is. So I thought, well, great, I'm gonna get another AM4 CPU just to update the BIOS. Woo! But AMD is an awesome company. I figured that out because they have a boot kit that they send you when you have a verified Ryzen 3 in my case, and you need to send the serial number and everything, and they will send you a Athlon, I think it is, that you can put in here to update the BIOS. I mean, isn't that awesome? They do that for free. You even have the prepaid shipping because you need to send the CPU back, and you can even keep the cooler. Why that? I don't know. It's just awesome. What can I say? This is really nice of him. So I did that. I sent AMD the email, and I'm waiting on a response. But well, I think it's just gonna work out as they say. They will send me the processor. I will update the BIOS, put in the Ryzen, and well, then boot it up and then be happy. So yeah, bad luck, I guess. It's just delayed a bit. It's not a problem. I mean, it's not like I need it right away, but well, I really would have liked to see how this Ryzen performs, but unfortunately, I can't do that yet. So yeah, we'll just have to wait. So let's be patient and wait for the processor. So my Ryzen build is now officially done. I had some problems along the way, as you saw, but it was really nobody's fault. I just had bad luck. I'm so grateful to my friend. He gave me his older 2nd gen Ryzen chip so I could update the BIOS, and now everything's working out beautiful. I've tested it with some benchmarks, and I tell you guys, the benchmarks, they just blew me away. It's crazy how much processing power you can get for this little money. This scored a Cinebench R20 score of 1,419. That is good 200 points lower than my main PC. So it's crazy how much value you get from these Ryzen chips, and so I would recommend it to anybody. And that's only the lower end Ryzen chip, the 3. Now just imagine what score you get with a 5 or 7 or even the 9, it would be insane. So how is the APU? Well, for my needs here, totally fine. I can play Chivalry, which was the one I was a little worried about. I can play it in 1080p at 40 to 45 frames per second, which is more than enough. But it really doesn't replace a dedicated GPU for gaming. So if you're really building a gaming system, you do need a graphics card. However, for an integrated chip, it's insane. It's really good. People are not kidding when they say the integrated APU is great on these chips. It really is great. So all in all, I can say great stuff. In the future, I will swap in my old R9 280 GPU from my main PC into this to have a dedicated GPU. Not really because I need it, but because I'm upgrading my graphics card on the main PC, so I might as well use it in this one. Of course, the 280 is still way faster than the APU, so it totally makes sense. And I'm also not too worried about the power supply only being 440 watts. I think it should do it. So the little case is great. I really like it. Like my only point of criticism is maybe these feet. They're just not really that well thought out, in my opinion. They're just stuck on there, and so they can fall off, and they will fall off someday. But it does also stand upright without these. So I'm not really complaining. Its handle is just exactly what I wanted, and the fact that you can fit in here a full-size GPU is amazing. You kind of route the PCI cable through, and then it's here. So on the other side, so that's a really great design. I recommend this case to anybody who wants a small PC. It's awesome. Also, the stock AMD cooler is doing just fine. I'm not planning on overclocking it or anything, so that should be fine. Also, the noise isn't really a problem, and it's not really too loud to begin with. So I will now play around with it a bit, put some data on it, install some servers and stuff for it. I'm still curious to see how it performs with dedicated server and playing at the same time, but since this has such a good Cinebench score, I think it will do it no problem. So yeah, this is my Ryzen build. In the future, again, I will upgrade the GPU, but it has to wait for a little while now. Nevertheless, I'm very happy to have it, and it's going to be a great PC. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.